Well, greetings. Thank you for keeping it on CK Sports and the pitch side, our two YouTube channels that have dedicated the time to make sure that we always bring you all the latest that you need to know about African football. We urge you to subscribe, we urge you to like, we urge you to comment, we urge you to share, and of course, that is the only way we will be able to grow our audience. So we are based in Kampala, Uganda, but of course, we would want to be as more engaging as possible with everyone on the African continent and beyond. My name is Clive Chaze, and yes, always in company of my colleague Peter Tabu. With him on this episode of looking at African football, we shall of course be sharing our thoughts and observation on the CAF Awards that just ended just the other day in Morocco. We have all you need to know about the AFCON regional qualifiers here in Kampala, where the CAF region is holding their qualifiers. We shall also be looking at the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. Yes, we had games in the past week, and there are some interesting results. And guess what? The draw for the 2025, or the date for the draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations has been set. All that and much more on today's episode. Peter, greetings, and how have you been?
Yeah, greetings, Clive. Greetings to everyone that is locked on to CK Sports and Pitchside. We really appreciate the love and support. Just keep the love flowing, keep the support coming. Yeah, been good. There's a lot happening on the continent for sure, and excited that we are both seated here to break it down for our viewers.
Yet we should be on the plane back from Marrakesh, Morocco after the CAF Awards last night.
Yeah, we should, but I guess we're caught up with a few things here. We prioritized other content schedules over the CAF Awards, which for me I feel was okay on my side.
Yes, Peter, you first of all, before we look at the winners and the different people who took what home, your general assessment or observation of the awards.
Yeah, first of all, the CAF Awards, it's the epitome of awarding African football, and you definitely feel that is the right thing to do or to happen. At the end of the day, you have to reward excellence. You have to recognize, the players that have put in a shift. I was very excited when Patrice Motsepe was on that stage, and he talked about rewarding referees who have given a lot, contributed a lot to the development of the game, and that is something you want to see happening. So first of all, generally, it's a good thing. You want excellence rewarded, and that is what happened last night in Morocco. About the event, I think it was well executed. Maybe for me, my complaint, should I put it as a complaint or my observation, was the two people who were selected to MC the event. Yes, Kate is a wonderful person, make no mistake about that. She's been doing so well with her work with Thierry Henry and Mika Rickards and all in the Champions League. But I also feel like on the African continent, we've got quite some exciting personalities that can light up the awards, who are actually used to these players. They talk to them when the tournaments are on. You could go on and on from
people who are closer to African football.
Yeah, you from Thomas Mulambo to Julia Stewart, Juliet Bauer recently also coming on the stage doing some good job, an amazing job. Karo Shabalala, Robert Marawa, without a doubt, could be one of those people. But anyways, CAF shows those two who MC'd, and that's where we are. But I felt maybe we lacked a more African vibrant touch on the awards.
Well, one will argue that Didier Drogba does host the Ballon d'Or, but he's an African, and he has never won it. But probably also I would want to look at it from the angle of logistical challenges here and there, but then I don't want to think so if you had Ronwen Williams and all these others flying all the way from the other side of the continent to north of the continent, because you'd want to think that probably because it is Morocco, logistically it is probably more convenient and closer for people who are coming out of Europe to come and be part of the awards. I'm trying to make a case for Kate.
No, there's no case there.
Unfortunately, I had no problem with it because like I did say, we've had Didier Drogba hosting at the Ballon d'Or. I mean, he's as African, though he probably has more relationship with France than Ivory Coast, much as they played football for Ivory Coast. My only challenge or observation was probably would have had a better translator or interpreter
Yeah.
for the English language. I
Yes.
thought the interpreter or translator for the English language wasn't really
Was
in
too slow.
the vibe of
But maybe that's how
the awards and all that.
but that's how maybe the language, the Arabic language is. Maybe you need to
No,
interpret it a bit.
I'm sure I'm sure there are people who would have probably have done a better job. But from the red carpet, I thought the production of the awards was good. From the red carpet going into the awards itself, my only challenge was that the vibe was a bit low. It's like it wasn't an event. Diamond Platinums came on stage, tried to light up everything, and you
Yeah.
thought probably that was the only time you felt that everyone was happy and excited to be a part of the awards and all that. But you want to feel by and large, it was a well-organized event, African event. And you thought that Morocco did actually give it their best. And for me, this is where I also want to give CAF their flowers.
Yep.
They really outdid themselves in promoting these awards, especially on the different digital platforms and elsewhere. But I thought on the different, I've followed the CAF Awards for some good time over the years. And I thought for the 2024 edition, they really invested a lot of time digitally to make sure that they keep people glued and updated. And actually, they made people want to be part of the awards and the different streaming platforms beyond the TV stations and all that. For me, I thought did really give these awards a lot of glamour.
Yeah, if you want the awards to be watched in the first place, you need to put them in everyone's face to actually let them know that these are the awards happening and these are the nominees and this is what they have done. And yeah, digitally, CAF has stepped up. You can see that the graphics. You look at the you promos and also highlights of the individuals who are nominated. These are often shared across the different media platforms, and now that they have a massive following, it then becomes easier for people to to actually follow what is happening. So you've got to put the event in the faces of so many people that they did, and it was easier for people to relate and wait for the awards to happen.
Before we look at the winners of the big events, disappointed that Dennis Omedi didn't walk away with the goal of the year award, or you saw it coming?
I mean, with the voting, a lot of pros and cons come in because then you need to think, okay, who are we competing with? Which regions are they from? And just how much numbers do they have? I think that is a major factor. But yes, it was always going to be hard for Dennis Omedi to win that award for the goal of the CAF goal of the year. That said, doesn't mean that his goal wasn't good. I think it was a beauty of a goal, and they also had the top goals. I don't think Mbululu's goal that was voted goal of the year was actually deserved. I mean, there's a couple of goals that I felt maybe
Peter,
had a shout.
And that has been the argument.
Yep.
Even elsewhere, somebody argued that how is a goal that is not nominated for the Puskas Award beat the goal that is nominated for the Puskas Award? But let's remember the process.
Yep.
The voting process, that the public had a big say in who gets to win these awards.
Yes.
And when you look at the votes that came through, Dennis Omedi ranked 6th out of all the contestants for that goal. And of course, Mbalulu's numbers were way up there. So at the end of the day, the biggest percentage, which was the public, decided, and CAF went with what was decided. At that stage, it didn't matter whose goal was better. What mattered is who is getting the most number of votes. And of course, Balulu's goal in the Africa Cup of Nations got the most number of votes.
Yeah, like I said, some populations on the continent and across the world beat us at some of these things. They take their time and they invest a lot of time in making sure that their person is voted. Mbululu plays for the Angola national football team. And you want to relate that to the Spanish, to the French, to the Portuguese speaking cultures that support the Angolan national football team. And I feel those are all different areas where he probably had a lot of people voting for him, unlike in Uganda where yes, it was us, but also when you compare the fan base, let's say, of Dennis Omedi and Uganda Cranes, and the people who just wish him all the best and can vote for him, it becomes a bit tight for us against those people like Mbululu, like Moroccans, like Egyptians. But again, for me, I don't want to focus on the voting and maybe who won. I credit Dennis Omedi for that effort, for the desire, for the character to actually execute that technique and make sure that that goal went in. So maybe other Ugandan players can be inspired to actually produce more magical moments in games,
those
like Omedi.
Those magical moments must
Yeah.
be live on TV because that is the only.
That's a
I don't know if
different
I was
story.
with you in Wankuluku when Patrick Jonah scored a bit of a goal against Waxo Giants.
No, I
And
didn't
the
watch
game
that,
wasn't
but
live on TV, and I was
yes.
like, oh my, if only this game was on TV. Because Dennis Omedi's goal has only managed to make it to that level
Because of
the
TV.
game was live on TV.
Yes, TV is very important, without a doubt. It goes without saying that if we had most of these games on TV in the UPL, we would have a lot of options to choose from, because each match day has something unique that happens. And unfortunately, some of these games are not telecast, so it becomes hard, or even recorded. So it becomes hard for us to or the public to actually discuss the goal of the season awards, because they've not seen the goal. It's only an eyewitness account.
Well, of course, at Chitara Football Club, today morning, I'm saying today, the 17th of December 2024, at 12 minutes to 9 a.m., they posted on their different social media accounts. I'm reading this post from X saying that we would like, first of all, they say appreciation post, and they say we would like to thank and appreciate everyone who took his time to vote for Dennis Omedi, and also wish him the best in the CAF 2024 awards. We are grateful for your support, and I thought it was a very, very noble thing to do. But a bit, of course, looking at what transpired, and we only want to focus on the winners. Yes, of course, our winners had their colleagues in the nomination categories to beat before they came out on top. But the biggest award of the night went to Ademola Lookman of Nigeria, the Super Eagles, and Atalanta Football Club. Well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. Tight one between him and Ronwen Williams, in my opinion, the Bafana goalkeeper. But you look at what Lookman achieved, scored 3 goals in the AFCON tournament, but most importantly, was pivotal as Nigeria reached the final.
Yeah, true.
But also, he led Atlanta to the Europa League victory, their first major trophy, I think, in 61 years. And that's not the talking point. They beat a Bayer Leverkusen team that had gone, I think, unbeaten the entire season. And he scored a hat-trick in that final. You're looking for someone who has had impact, someone who has really, really had so many people, talking about him and keeping an eye on him. Ademola Lookman is that guy. He had a career in England, a couple of clubs there, and you felt maybe he wasn't really, really going to pop up. But when he went to Italy, it was a different thing altogether. We're talking Atlanta. We're not talking Inter, AC Milan. We're talking Atlanta, who won the Europa League. So credit to him. Fantastic performance. And of course, Williams coming in closely as number 2.
Well, of course, he joins a long list of Nigerians who have won this award. The last one being Victor Osimhen, who won it last year. And they've equaled, I don't want to say record or something, but Nwankwo Kanu won this award in 1996, and Victor Kpeba won it in 1997. So since then, we've not had men or players from the same country winning the awards back to back. These two have done it. Victor Osimhen the last year, and of course you have Ademola Lookman coming in this year. Then, of course, women's football is on the rise, not only globally, but also on the African continent, in particular. And Barbara Banda is one of those who have been flying the African flag very, very high. She plays football, of course, in the USA, but she was also very pivotal as Zambia tried to put up a show at the Olympics in Paris. This year alone, she became the first African to be voted in the FIFPro World 11 at the women's version.
Yeah, she's faced a lot of adversity in the women's game, a lot of criticism coming her way. But she's managed to put all that behind her, and she's put in a shift. Barbara Banda plays for Orlando Pride in the National Women's League in the USA, and they are the current champions. You know, she plays alongside Marta, the
Marta is her
Brazilian great.
captain.
Yes, and Marta, I think, scored the beauty of a goal in their last game or something like that as they were winning the championship.
She was actually also voted the MVP of the league.
Yes, yes. So she's been on the continent for a while. She's been buying in the goals for Zambia. And yeah, her consistency has paid off. Hardworking player. When you watch her play for the Zambian women national football team, you can see her character and a lot of fight from her. So you appreciate that she's come from far, and she deserves to win that award as well.
And of course, we did say, she did score a hat-trick at the Olympics, which was her third hat-trick at the Olympics.
Yes.
That's a total of 9 goals, which is actually an all-time record in the competitions. You're a big fan of Ronwen Williams. He left the night with 2 awards. One of those was the goalkeeper of the year.
Yep.
Many thought that without a doubt he was always going to win it. Then he also left with the award of the Interclub Player of the Year.
Yep. Very good season that is had. I think CAF is considering the period Jan to October for these awards 2024. And in that period, Ronwen Williams has achieved quite a lot. First of all, let's begin with the club level. 15 clean sheets in 22 games for Mamelodi Sundowns in the league, but also was pivotal as Sundowns reached the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League last season. Going on to lose, of course, we all know Miguel, their current coach, is on that eliminated them from the competition. But going into AFCON, whoever knew that Bafana would reach the semi-finals for the first time, I think, since 2000, in 24 years. Solid performance, and that was because of him. 5 clean sheets in 7 games, 4 consecutive clean sheets at the same tournament, but also the penalty saves that he had, I think, against Cape Verde and DR Congo, if I'm not mistaken. They usually say today that for you to win a league title, you need a goalkeeper who can actually, save you from some very, very crucial games. And I think he's done that for Bafana at AFCON as they came through to finish third. So Ronza has done so well, and those 2 awards definitely befit him, the Golden Glove and the Intermen's Club Player of the Year.
Well, the goalkeeper of the year in the women's category was of course, Chiamaka and Ndonzi from Nigeria. She also plays for Paris FC. And then you have the CAF Interclub Player of the Year, women, Asana from Morocco. She does play for AS Afar. And of course, you had the CAF Young Player of the Year men, Lamine Camara from Senegal, yeah. Also plays for AS Monaco. And then for the ladies, the CAF Young Player of the Year was Doha El Madani from Morocco. She also plays for AS FAR. Coach of the year for the ladies, Lamia Bomedi, that's coach at TP Mazembe. She guided them to their first ever women's CAF Champions League. Yeah. Coach of the year, I thought this was a tight one, but a tight one that you feel is very obvious. You had a must fight up against Hugo Bruce and Sebastian Desabri, but of course a must fight, I guess, to win it. He took over Ivory Coast in the middle of the Africa Cup of Nations and took them all the way to the final. Yeah,
briefly on Bemodi, Lamina, she led, like you mentioned, TP Mazembe to their first CAF Women's Champions League title. I think she's the first female coach to do that.
True.
But also, Mazembe actually beat AR FAR, a club from Morocco. Now, Lamina is born in Morocco, and she's coached there for a while. I think she even won the women's Moroccan league title. and a couple of other, coached the under-20 Morocco team, coached the Morocco women's team as well. So when they went into the final, she had the blueprint of her opponents, and that's how she was able to conquer them with that 1-0 victory. So great performance from her and Tipi Mazembe, and good performance from the team overall. Now, for the men, Clive, it would be next to impossible for Massify not to win that men's award.
Really?
You look at the story. He didn't start the tournament as head coach. He was assistant, and before we knew it, the head coach ran away. He left the team. Okay,
Actually,
he was sacked. Yeah, he was sacked. Then he took over the team. And I think at the time he had taken over the team, there were big questions of how far Ivory Coast can go in the tournament.
They actually quoted, what's the name? The gentleman who coached Zambia to the AFCON title, and Ivory Coast, the Frenchman who was coaching the women's national team at Haverina. They wanted him on loan.
Yes.
And the French
FA declined. From France, yes. And the French FA declined. So he did his magic and led Ivory Coast to the AFCON title on home soil. And to be very honest with you, the rest can just clap for him as he picks up that award. That's quite an achievement that Massify did. An underdog, a rookie at that stage. Not many expected him to do the job, but he delivered. And Ivory Coast now have 3 titles? I think in the 90s they or 2 or 3. The Yaya Toure one.
They have the one they won with Yaya Toure, should have been in 2015.
Yes, and then this one as well. So good stuff from him.
Then the one in 92.
So those are 3 AFCON titles.
Well, of course, it was a no-brainer. Team of the year, Ivory Coast for the men, Nigeria for the ladies. Club of the year, it was always going to be Al Ahly, no-brainer there. Club of the year for the ladies, Tipi Mazembe from DR Congo,
Yep.
No-brainer in there. Earlier on, you talked about CAF appreciating referees, and the CAF referee for the year for the men was Mutaz Ibrahim from Libya, and for the ladies was Bautura Kabombi from Morocco. And then there was also an award for the CAF Assistant Referee of the Year for the men, Elvis Guy Nope from Cameroon. And then for the ladies, and then Chikotesha from Zambia. The goal of the year, we already told you, Mbalulu did beat Dennis Omedi and others to it. But at the end of the day, you thought that for me, the consistency that CAF has had around celebrating these stars who give us a lot of joy and excitement on the football pitch has continued to improve over time.
Yeah, it has definitely. If you're on the African continent, you want a lot of improvement. You want a lot of following with what is happening on the continent, and the talent is there, no question about that. And also it's worked in a very good way that when, for example, the last AFCON that was held had a huge following. People were really excited about it globally, and that also plays a big role in trying to make sure that the brand of the Africa Cup of Nations grows. If you remember, there was a time when the tournament would come and there was no talking point. I mean, really. And we also faced that time when top African players in Europe, chose Europe over AFCON. And it's not the case anymore now.
Peter, on that exact point you raised, I feel that is one of the reasons why it will take a while for these awards to get out of Morocco or any country in the Maghreb. Yes. Because of the ability for these players to travel for less hours, can be part of the awards. Before they know it, you're on the next flight or the next flight in the morning back to Europe taking care of your business.
Yeah, but also, Clive, we need to be very honest with ourselves. The Royal Moroccan government has invested heavily in some of these projects happening. We talk about players flying in and out. I'm pretty sure they also make arrangements for these things to happen. Most of these players from the top clubs in Europe use private jets to fly in and fly back. And we all know maybe somewhere, somehow, some of these costs are met by the organizers.
The costs aside, but the inconvenience. Remember the trouble Andrew Onana had to go through after playing against Zimbabwe at Nambole to get to the airport because he was supposed to be on the next flight back home. And then I later got to learn that that day, the Cameroonian chartered plane that was in the country actually first went to Europe landed in France, the different players connected to their different destinations before it actually flew back to Yaoundé.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, when Dennis Onyango won the African Player of the Year, Best in Africa, if you remember, I remember.
2016.
Yes, 2016. I remember the the rough time he had, and I actually had any talk to him, and about that time we're always together, and he was really not happy with the whole arrangement because he had to figure it out to come from SA, then come to Uganda, then connect to Nigeria. It was a bit tiresome. Then connect from Nigeria back to SA. It was a bit tiresome for him. And of course, what really came out for him was he won the award, and that was consolation for him. So there's a lot of inconvenience there. But if it is sorted, if the arrangement is top notch, then it's easier for CAF to deal with these countries that are investing heavily
and
to make sure these awards happen there.
Onyango was supposed to be one of the people attending these awards.
Yes.
But he didn't travel for the awards because Mamelodi Sundowns have a game on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, and the club was like, both of you can't travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if both of you travel, what are the chances that you return in time and in good shape for the game on Wednesday? So they're like, okay, Ronwen is nominated, let him travel. Dennis, you're staying here because we have a game on Wednesday, and there are high chances that actually you will be in goal because we are not sure what shape
Ronwen will come back. And maybe let me also mention this. I really liked Ronwen Williams' speech after winning the goalkeeper of the year award. He actually thanked all the goalkeeping coaches that have been in his life until today, including Kennedy Mwene, who was just
his
recently,
current goalkeeping coach.
yes, was just recently, kept at the clubs. It's such a good gesture for you to mention over 7 goalkeeping coaches. Why not say it goes back to all the others at SuperSport and all. A very good gesture from Ronwen Williams.
You talked about the Moroccan government investing heavily in sports development and football in particular before the awards. But of course, this is news that we got to know later after the awards that FIFA, of course, together with CAF, did launch a FIFA office that opened a new Africa office, a FIFA office in Africa, and it's going to be based in Morocco.
Yes.
Of course, they have the different regional offices,
yes.
And the one for CAF is based in Kigali, Rwanda.
Yes.
But then they have just opened up another one in Morocco.
And of course, coming off the fact that Morocco, Portugal, and Spain are hosting, the 2030 World Cup, Saudi Arabia 2034. It definitely is something that FIFA is trying to ensure that they keep those close ties together and also prepare for the next World Cup very well. I think if there's any organization that doesn't take chances with their events and how they should be organized and how ready they are, it's definitely FIFA. They go all the way. You know about the 2010 World Cup where they had to invest loads of money to help the South African government make sure that the World Cup is ready. So that's why they even call it the 2010 legacy, because it was just beyond football, and you see the impact that it had on the continent when when South Africa hosted the World Cup in 2010. Of course, Sipiwe Shabalala's goal and all. So, yeah, FIFA is doing everything possible to make sure that the experience in 2030 is what Morocco have portrayed in the media. You've seen the stadiums; they've showed the artistic impressions.
The ones available, the ones they are constructing.
Yeah, the ones they're going to construct. So you want to make sure that what they say is what is going to happen. And I mean, they've hosted major events, so you definitely think FIFA is not so far away, and I think it's the right thing to do.
Well, before the awards, the CAF Executive Committee had a meeting to deliberate on different matters,
yes.
African football. And after the meeting, a story was shared on the CAF website, but it was later pulled down. But of course, before it was pulled down, we got a sneak peek into what the story was all about. Of course, it was giving details of what had been discussed, and majorly it was about the different cup competitions, the dates for the opening games, the closing games, the venues, and stuff like that. And one of the highlights in that story that was published was January 27, 2025, as the day that was set for the draw of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations that Morocco will be hosting. And of course, the date for the Africa Cup of Nations also confirmed from the 21st of December 2025 to the 18th of January 2026. For me, that was the highlight of the entire document. You shared your disappointment, and other people shared their disappointments that the document didn't have an update on the CHAN, the delayed CHAN 2024 final that East Africa will be hosting next year in February. But at least a roadmap. Of course, they talked about things like the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, which is a qualifier for the World Cup, to be hosted by Morocco. Then the Under-20 AFCON, which is also a qualifier for the Under-20 World Cup, to be hosted by Ivory Coast. The dates for the finals and the different stages of the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. But for me, what caught my eye was the draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah, the draw happening on 27th of Jan, like you've mentioned. We know that Christmas and New Year will be spent in in Morocco. We shall definitely hold our Christmas and New Year in Morocco for sure, because Pitchside and CAF Sports.
Do we get to travel with our families?
No. Akoka budget tukalina. We shall send videos for them and wish them Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yeah, so now the Uganda Cranes, at least this is where we draw our attention to. Know that, they'll know their opponents quite early, then they'll have time to prepare and be ready for that. But also, a confirmed football calendar for a year is a very, very good thing for everyone involved. Because, for example, we know when the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup finals will be held, because it's a two-legged affair. So yeah, if in the event that you're in the CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup, then you can definitely plan better and know how you're going to handle the situation. So good step by CAF. We are waiting for the update on CHAN. We really need it. Want confirmation that CHAN is going to be in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda.
I think the fact that they set that deadline of the 31st of December, no communication is going to come through
until then.
So probably the earliest communication can come through is next year in January. And I mean, we are just a few days away
from January.
From 2 weeks and a few days from January. So whatever Kenya is doing in the next 2 weeks will determine whether the announcement comes or the announcement does not come.
The announcement will come, but
because you expected that same meeting to probably set a date. If you're setting a date for the draw of the Africa Cup of Nations that is at the tail end of the year, surely I expected that document or story to also set a date or publish a date for the draw of the CHAN finals and where that draw is going to be held, because the draw for the AFCON will be held in Morocco. So you expect probably the draw for the CHAN to be held in any of these three countries. And probably that could have been one of the reasons why it was pulled down. And probably you expect the same to be published today. But of course, we'll return with more insights here and there. Peter, away from that, there's a lot of African football going on, especially at junior level. And as we speak currently in Uganda, we have the qualifiers, the regional or zone qualifiers for the Under-17 African Cup of Nations. A six-nation competition in a region that is more than 10 countries. Some pulled out at the last minute because of logistical reasons here and there. And the top two teams will be qualifying for the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations that is going to be hosted by Morocco in March. According to documents available, it is supposed to be a 12-team competition, but we are getting information that is yet to be verified. That because it is a qualifier for the World Cup, and Africa has 10 slots for the World Cup, they want to expand those countries from 12 to 16. It might be for this edition or for the editions in the future. But of course, we have those qualifiers going on right now. Uganda has already played their game, a 1-1 draw against Tanzania in a group that also has Kenya. Tanzania and Kenya will play their game on Wednesday, and then Uganda will play their last group game, that's on Saturday against Kenya, which is a must-win for them to advance to the next stage of the qualifiers and try to get into the final, because like we said, only the top 2 teams will qualify for the AFCON finals in Morocco, where they stand a big chance of qualifying for the Under-17 World Cup in Qatar.
Not a very good start for the under-17 team of Uganda. They only managed a point. You're playing at home.
Came from behind.
Yes, you're playing at home. You want to take advantage of that. Maybe that's there's a lot of lessons are going to pick from that and probably do better.
This is the question I've always wanted to ask. Where should the focus be? Should we be desperate to qualify for the AFCON, get closer to that World Cup ticket, or the focus should be on development?
No, I think we, as a country, we need to be more in those underage competitions because it helps to grow the players in every aspect of the game. You're going for the Under-17 World Cup, you're definitely going to meet the top nations that have boast football in the world, the Brazils, the Colombias, all those top teams across the world. And we've seen stories of John Obi Mikel played in the, I think, 2008 Olympics against Argentina.
No, it was actually the 2005 Under-20 World Cup in the Netherlands.
Yes, which had Messi, Sergio Kun Aguero, and all. And today, of course, you look at his career. He's won the Nations Cup. He's won loads of titles with Chelsea and all. You just never know. You have to players often in those top competitions, underage competitions across the world, because it helps your players become better by the day. So it's pivotal for Brian Senyondo, who is the head coach of the Under-17 team now, to try and make sure he pushes the lads to seal that spot, because they'll pick a lot of experience from those tournaments.
And of course, there are lots of opportunities to get in there. Like you said, even the teams in Europe or the scouts usually love to give opportunity to players who are still young, because it gives these teams an opportunity to actually develop and nurture these players. The tournament, the World Cup itself, was expanded to 48 teams. The Under-20, I think, was expanded to 24. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify for the AFCON finals in that one, which is also a qualifier for the Under-20 World Cup. But like you did say, it is a huge opportunity.
Yep.
Kenya and Tanzania in the recent past, their Under-17 girls teams have qualified for the World Cup. And you feel that probably that also helps in their development and encourages them and motivates more to focus a lot on that. We qualified for the World Cup at the Under-20 level with Moribiekwa. So you remember that AFCON tournament in Mauritania that we lost in the final against Ghana. Unfortunately, that World Cup did not happen
because of
the pandemic. You thought that probably that should have also been a huge opportunity.
Should have been
for us to qualify, for us to market our players and probably get them in those different leagues or even better teams. We had an opportunity in 2022, 2023, the one that was in Egypt. Unfortunately, we could not get ourselves into the semi-finals because that is all we needed to qualify for the World Cup. We lost at the quarterfinals. This time around, we didn't even qualify for the AFCON. We were knocked out at the regional qualifiers. But these Under-17 boys have a huge opportunity to get into the AFCON, which, of course, you'll have scouts monitoring, seeing some of the top prospects and all that, but also a huge opportunity to get into the World Cup, where the different scouts globally will be looking at the different talents.
Yeah, of course, those are the opportunities I'm talking about. You go to tournaments like that, it's easier to be picked out by top scouts across the world, but also the experience that you pick up playing against very, very talented opponents who you will later see on TV or play alongside, in Europe. So it's for me, the experience comes in handy, and the players get to learn at the biggest stage.
And Peter, as we wind up, we'll look at the interclub competition, the African continent. Of course, it will be taking a break in going after match day 3. It will be taking a break and only returning early next year. But the Champions League itself, looking at a Group A, Al Hilal Omdurman from South Sudan is taking everybody by storm. They are in a group that has MC Alger from Algeria, TP Mazembe, these are 5-time winners from DR Congo, and Young Africans of Tanzania. just the other season, should have been 1 or 2 young Africans reached the final of the CAF competition. Was it semi-final finals of the CAF
Final, they
competition?
lost to the final.
Aduman are leading that group on 9 points. They have won all their 3 games. The last one being a 1-0 victory over MC Alger in Algeria.
Yeah, Kwesi Appiah is definitely doing a very good job for his Al Hilal team. You look at that and you're thinking that's a very good performance. They're winning home and away. I think they beat Young Africans on match day 1 in Dar es Salaam,
2-0.
convincingly 2-0. By the time they get a result away against a Maghreb nation, then you can see that they're really putting in a shift. And with the CAF Champions League, the first major point is winning at home. But if you also can win away, then it's a big advantage. 9 points, they're home and dry. They're waiting for that quarterfinal matchup. But good run from Al Hilal.
TP Mazembe playing at home failed to beat a struggling Young Africans. The game ended 1-1 in Lubumbashi in front of a full stadium, like we've always known games in Lubumbashi to be. Of course, Young Africans came into this one after losing 2 games, and they were really badly looking for points. And the game ended in a barren draw. TP Mazembe needed it also because they are yet to win a game this season.
Yeah, they'll feel undone. TP Mazembe almost won that game, but wasted a bit of time here and there. First of all, Khalid Aucho played for the first time under Said Ramovic, the new head coach. Remember, he had not yet got the opportunity to play. Came in, played the entire game. He tried to anchor that midfield, but the goal that they conceded was a bit controversial. The player rises up to head the ball, he hits the post, then I think bounces in and out, and the referee awards it. I don't think he would refuse to award it in front of that capacity crowd. But Prince Dube leveling for Young Africans at the death, and what a result for Yanga. They needed it. They needed that point after 3 match days. So hopefully, with 3 more games to go, they probably pick up 6 points or 7, and maybe they are
3 more games to go with 2 of those at home.
That is what they're going to count on. They really need to make sure that they pick up 6 points at home, and then they can breathe a new life into their CAF Champions League campaign. Otherwise, it doesn't look good for Young Africans.
Will Mamelodi Sundowns, Dennis Onyanga and company finally winning a football match after back-to-back draws? They won 1-0 against Raja Casablanca at home. Was it also the first game for their
Yes,
coach?
It was the first game for Miguel Costa, their head coach. Ikram Reyners signed from Stellenbosch. What an impact he's had on Mamelodi Sundowns. I think he scored 11 goals in 14 games so far. That's in the league and across all competitions. And you can see that, he really has stood up, because Peter Shalulile no longer scores goals for Mamelodi Sundowns. And they had to bring in someone to, pump it up, and Reyners has done a good job. His goal is the one that gave them the 3 points in that one.
Of course, Mamelodi Sundowns on 5 points, together with Farabat, who are on 5 points. They traveled to Congo and forced a 1-0 draw of Maniema, debutant in this competition. They are yet to win a fixture, but they have drawn all their 3 games so far, including a draw against against Mamelodi Sundowns in South Africa.
Yep.
The other was against Raja Casablanca in Morocco.
They're party spoilers, aren't they? They are, because there are those teams in the group you think other teams are going to get results over. Well, Maniema is not one of them. They've proved to be a tough opponent to break down, and they've given other teams, a run for their money. So impressed with how they're playing in their debut season in the CAF Champions League. Maybe they should be looking for a win now in the remaining games.
Well, Group C, Orlando Pirates are on top of that group on 5 points. Of course, started the season brightly, winning their opening game against Sierra Blessed away home at 2-1. Then they had that barren draw against Al Ahly at home, and they traveled to Ivory Coast and played another 1-0 draw against Stade at the Abidjan, which I thought was a very good result away from home.
Yeah, the point, first of all, they got at the Orlando Stadium against Al Ahly was huge. I thought we were going to build on that and get a
I thought they
result.
should have picked all 3 points. Yes, you're playing against the defending champions, but
Yeah, they just didn't they just didn't create chances and score. But first of all, Orlando Pirates traveled to Stade Abidjan, the venue where they won the 1995 CAF Champions League title. So they have a lot of memories in that stadium, and their head coach was trying to say that he hopes they can actually win, so that that is in remembrance for what Pirates did in 1995. But to the game, Pirates wasted so many chances. Evidence Makopa scored for them after Mofokeng was fouled in the box. Then they conceded, but Evidence had a one-on-one chance later on in that game, and he was unable to convert. So maybe that's their biggest challenge. They should be able to convert many chances. They've been missing their main player, Patrick Masangwani, for unknown reasons. We don't know what happened. The club has not communicated. But I feel like if he was available, maybe it would be a different story against Stade Abidjan.
well, the defending champions Al Ahly don't play until the 22nd of December. That is against Belouizdad at home. Currently, they're on 4 points, and winning that fixture will take them back on top of the log. At the moment, they're in second position.
And Al Ahly and playing at home, they usually make it count. They get the results going. We've always spoken about the kind of team that they have. A very, very creative team going forward. Karaba, El Shahat, you pass it out here and there when he comes in. Yeah, but impressive team that they have that always takes advantage at home, and I'm pretty sure Belouizdad is going to have a bit of an issue in that fixture.
Well, outside the Al Hilal, who are 3-3, the other team that has collected points is Esperance. They're on 7 points on top of Group D after they did win their last game at home against Pyramids, 2-0. Of course, the Pyramids in a second position on 4 points. They have won one, drawn one, and lost the other. The other two teams in the group, Sagrada and Joliba, are both on 2 points. After, of course, they both played to a barren draw in that game that Joliba hosted.
Tunis Esperance reached the final of the CAF Champions League last season, lost to Al Ahly, so they know their way around the group stages. Win your games, make it to the quarterfinals, and whoever comes, deal with it from there. And so I expect them to, make it out. They also have a couple of very, very interesting players, including a South African in Mokowena, who's been also scoring goals for them in the league. So you think maybe, just maybe, that is going to be an opportunity for them to still make it out of the group stages.
Well, of course, the Champions League, apart from the game that Al Ahly will be playing against Belouizdad on the 22nd of December, does not return until next year, early next year. That should be the first week of January. So is the Confederations Cup. But of course, we had match day 3, and Group A is very interesting. First of all, CSS Fuaxen are bottom of that group.
Yep.
On 0 points. They have not won a game, but then you have two teams in Constantine, Simba and Bravos Demaquis, all on 6 points. Of course, Simba reviving themselves with that 2-1 victory at home against Faxen, and explains why I'm not really commending them for what they did, but it explains why they reacted in the manner that they reacted. Faxen attacking the referee, because that goal was scored in the 98th, 99th.
The referee added 7 minutes, and the goal was scored in the 99th minute.
Though we need to emphasize, the referee added a minimum of 7 minutes. Yes, that is the rule.
Yes, absolutely. Massive result for Simba. Massive result from Simbazi in Dar es Salaam as they beat Sfaxien by 2-1. Dennis Kibu scoring both goals, if I'm not mistaken. Scored a brace. And again, with CAF Champions League, Confederation Cup, win your games at home. And then you'll have a party. Of course, the scenes that mad the event after the game were not good scenes, and I'm sure CAF is going to investigate and try and make a ruling on that. But at the end of the day, Simba have 6 points, and they can build on that going forward.
6 points with the remaining 3 games. 2 of those are at home. No,
one should be away. Yeah.
Actually, because in this round they have played 2 games at home.
Yes.
So in the next round, they have 1 game at home.
Okay.
in the next round of games. But of course, looking at Group B, Barkane are 3-3. They have won all their games, on 9 points at top of the table. Stade Malien lost their match day 3 game against Barkane, 1-0. Then of course you have Stellenbosch at traveling and defeating Sidi Douassoul 1-0, and that was actually their first. Those were their first points of the campaign. They still have 3 games to go, but Barakane looks like they will be running away with this one, and they will be letting Stade Malien and Stellenbosch sort themselves out on who takes second position.
Barkana are in familiar territory. They know. They also know their way around this competition. They've played more in the Confederation Cup than in the Champions League in recent years, and they certainly can find their way out. So far so good. Good start for them. Stellenbosch, I think the traveling is dealing with them. And they don't have a deep squad, so they'll always struggle to get the results.
UMS Alger in Algeria's Group C on 7 points. They did win their match day 3 game, defeating ASEC Mimosa 3-0 at home. Of course, ASEC Mimosa still in second position on 4 points, but then you also had Orapa United and Giraffe playing to a barren draw. But it looks like ASEC Mimosa and UMS Alger are the teams to beat in this group, unless things turn around in the next phase of games.
Yeah, ASEC Mimosas has really been doing well on the continent, but also produced some of the top players we see today on the continent. For example, Pakomi Zuzwa from Ivory Coast, who is at Young Africans, Stephen Key, Stephen Key as well, all from that club turned academy turned the club, where they've been producing some quite some impressive players, but they also know their way out. USM Alger not so long ago reached the final of the CAF Confederation Cup and won it against Young Africans. So these are clubs that know they definitely have to win their home games to reach the next round.
Well, in this is Group D, Zamalek, who should be the defending champions of this one, if I'm not
Yes, they are.
mistaken, on 7 points at top of the group. In match day 3, they defeated Al Masry in that Egyptian derby on the continent. Al Masry on 4 points in second position. But also you have Black Bulls on 4 points. They defeated Enyimba of Nigeria to put themselves in this position. And Enyimba has just 1 point after that 2-all draw against Zamalek on match day 2. It's not too late, but you feel like the loss against Black Bulls will in a way affect them if they are to get out of this group.
Yeah, they are shadow of their former selves. We all know Enyimba back in the day were one of the top
The early
teams.
2000s.
Yeah, one of the top teams on the continent for a while, especially in the CAF Champions League. But hard times have fallen on their side, and it's been hard for them to regain their former glory. You look at a group that has Zamalek, Al Masry, Black Bulls, and them and their bottom, it speaks volumes, especially Black Bulls being ahead of them. You can understand Zamalek and Al Masry, they'll figure it out because they're playing at home literally. But for Enyimba, you want to think they should be able to do better, having already dominated the continent for a period before they went down sinking.
Yes, and of course, these games, match day 3, 4, and 5, will also be returning early next year. So interclub competitions on the continent are taking a break. We should be having the last phase of the qualifiers, because I've been wondering what are we going to be doing between now and then. We should be having the last phase of the qualifiers for the CHAN in the CAF region, but also across the continent. Actually, we should know the 19 or 18 or 17 teams that will be playing in the final of the competition by the time not by the time we come back, because Uganda and Burundi are playing on the 26th and on the 29th in those qualifiers. So you will have teams now preparing for China, as also different leagues on the African continent are planned to take a break.
Yeah, of course, focus is now on CHAN, and for the host nations, focus is trying to make sure they have solid teams to compete. I remember the 2016 CHAN. that had Rwanda. I mean, Rwanda reached, I think, the round of 16.
Yeah, quarterfinals. They got out of their group.
Quarterfinals. They reached the quarterfinals,
They
which
did reach
was
the quarterfinals. Yeah.
yeah, Anes Sugira and all those
That
guys.
gigantic striker.
Yes,
The left-footed gigantic striker.
yes, and all those players that put in a shift for Rwanda.
We also had a solid team.
Yeah, we had a solid team, but you remember the Congo team that had Elia Misach, and
Who was the MVP of the
who was
tournament?
MVP and Jonathan Bolinge as well, I
Yeah,
think.
but for me, the turning
So,
point
CAF
in that tournament was our opening game against Mali. That game ended 2-2, but we led that game 2-0.
Oh wow.
Before you know it,
2-1.
Ismail Watenga, who was our best captain of the team, rather one of the best players of the team, I think he was in the form of his life, got injured. Although by the time he got injured, it was at 2-1. But then he also had Mia Farouk, who was without a doubt the best player in the country at the moment, getting injured. The game ended 2-2. I thought if we had won that game,
It would give us a good start.
It would have given us a good start because the second game was against Zambia. You don't have two of your best players, Ismail Watenga and Amir Farouk, and I think we lost that game because the coach, Micho Muruton Sojovic, together with his assistant, Moses Basena, decided to go for Matthias Chigonya in goal ahead of James Alitho. Yet when Watenga got injured in the game against Mali, it was actually Alitho who came and replaced him. And that decision was very evident because the Zambians, they were trying their level best to play aerial balls because they knew we had a short man in goal.
Yeah, and he struggled with that.
At the back of the net. I don't remember our opponent in the last group game, but we had a solid team. So I hope that we have a solid team.
We definitely need a solid team, and also maybe we need to rally Ugandans out there. That guys, Chan is coming. I'm pretty sure the Cranes will have 3.
At least we know it will be in Uganda.
Yes,
we are not sure about.
We need Ugandans to feel Nambole, just like you support the A team of the Uganda Cranes. You also need to come and support the team because these are local best players. You've been watching them in the league. They need your support. We really need to get out. We need to get the monkey off our backs for us to leave the group stages of CHAN. We've never done that in the history of Uganda. So this time around, I think we can give it a shot.
Either us and DR Congo have, is it DR Congo or Ivory Coast? One of the two teams. But us, we are one of the two teams who have had the most appearances
at the tournament.
But you have teams that have less appearances than us actually winning the championship. Countries like Congo have 2 championships. And so we'll need to get ourselves out of the group. And of course, some of the players who play for the A team will be playing in the CHAN. You're talking about Alan Okello, you're talking about Ronald Sechiganda, and all these other players. But that's all the time we had for you on this episode that looks and focuses on African football. Clive Chaze is my name on behalf of CK Sports, together with Peter Dabu on behalf of the pitch side, where these shows are usually published or uploaded. Remember to subscribe if you're yet to subscribe to those channels, but also like, comment, and share. Let us grow these audiences together.